I think they trade back. You get a running back in the corner.
Is it okay if I make a comment about your outfit picks live?
Again, every time the last episode I listened, I can hear you guys talk.
Always.
Now or never, right?
I'm anticipating that. This void. All right.
Alrighty, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Nothing But the Game. We are live. We have some big plans today. We are planning our Nothing But a Mock, the first annual NBTG podcast mock draft, right? So just to be
see how good we are, right?
Yeah, just to be clear, when I say annual, this is the only mock that we're doing, right? Right. So one mock per year, right?
we're setting that bar high too, assuming we will make it to another year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking positivity into the universe.
So this is how it's all going to go down today. I will be your commissioner / host of the Nothing But a Mock, and it'll be CJ and Evan representing each team. CJ is representing the odd picks. Evan representing the evens.
Yes.
Are you guys excited? I'm
excited.
Man. Yeah.
I am stoked.
I'm excited just because I think it's just going to be hysterical. I just think it's going to be nothing but laughs the whole time.
And may I say, too, you dressed just quite perfect for this situation, for this encounter.
I know, man.
I feel like I might be like you were getting ready to officiate like an online wedding, but you looked awesome.
Listen, man, I got shorts on, right? Like I'm playing the part right now. You know what I mean? So. I did a job interview like this a couple months back too. I had shorts on.
Comfortability builds confidence.
Yes. I don't know. What do you guys say? Do you guys want to just
jump right into it?
Are you guys ready to do this?
There's nothing else to do, but just get at it.
You want to get at it?
Get at it.
CJ, are you ready?
Yep. You tell them 1 minute clock and all that.
Oh yes. Sorry. No, thank you. So the way it's going to go down is that each selection has 1 minute to pick, and that's pretty much it. And yeah.
That's how the actual draft works. So that's it. You you got this time, done.
I mean, before we get going here, right? Are you does each pick really take 10 minutes? Or do you think the NFL just has a time slot on TV that they have to fill? So they're like,
hey, Detroit, could you take like an extra 6 minutes? We got a commercial break coming up, and it'd be great if you could cut after you.
Right.
It'd be awesome. Yeah.
I did the trade, maybe the trade offers and stuff like that, but other than that, no.
Yeah.
So
I don't see why it takes that long. Goodell's probably just sitting back there like analyzing the picks, joshing with everybody in the background. It's like, all right, I guess we'll get at it now. Unless you're Minnesota, from when was that year that they actually missed the clock?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Like outside of that.
Yes.
Oh man.
All right. Well, you guys ready to do this?
the intro.
All right.
Mm.
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2022 Nothing But a Game podcast presents. I messed it already. I messed it up already, dude. This is great. Let's try it one more time. One more time.
Oh,
Ladies
man.
and gentlemen, Nothing But the Game podcast presents you the 2022 Nothing But a Mock. That's much better.
Way to go.
No, that's So without further ado, we have
I'm on the clock.
Jacksonville.
the Jacksonville Jaguars are now on the clock.
Ooh, and it's on there.
Nice. So, the most consensus draft pick right now is Aiden Hutchinson, and I agree with that pick.
Yeah,
Jacksonville, they have many needs, but I think getting a franchise player at caliber in him, he's a big physical pass rusher. He has a high motor. He can bring the leadership mentality. He can just be the cornerstone for that defense. So I give it to Aiden Hutchinson.
all right. The pick is in. Aiden Hutchinson. The Detroit Lions are now on the clock.
Awesome. So, and I agree with you 100% with Aiden Hutchinson, obviously. Detroit Lions with the second overall pick take Kayvon Thibodeau. I believe I said that right. I know Detroit needs to get secondary help, and I was looking kind of at a Bond Bradshaw and Hamilton in this range, but I think he's the best upside player that's on the board. And if they, he's the most controversial one, I guess, right now at this point. So many different ranges, but I think it's the best pick for them to grab. And that's it.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that pick too. So.
All right.
Man, flying through these
this is going right. 1 minute's pretty quick, huh?
It is.
Alrighty. The Houston Texans are now on the clock.
All right. With the third pick, I select Evan Neal, the tackle from Alabama. Like, they really need to upgrade that, offensive line that definitely help out Davis Mills, who they're sticking with right now. So he's one of the top tackles. He's explosive, physical, and a good run blocker. So, I mean, he even can play multiple positions on that O-line. So I think that's a good move for Houston.
And in the position that Houston's in, they're rebuild 100%, not, obviously competing, and they don't have room to whiff on the high round picks. Offensive line is a high end, high return historically in the draft. So it makes utmost sense to do that. So yeah, I agree. And so that puts me up. Am I officially on the clock here?
Yes, the New York Jets are now on the clock.
Okay, I hate to jump the gun, but to me, this is a slam dunk. Ahmad Bradshaw is, Bradshaw. Golly, I am literally going back to my fantasy football days of like 12-year-old Ahmad Gardner. Woo! All right, Ahmad Gardner is absolutely plug and play for the Jets right now at that position. There's not much else to say on it, personally. I think that is who they should take. There's no one else.
Sauce Gardner.
Sauce.
Revis 2.0 right there, huh?
Yeah, you get his own little island, maybe.
I like it. He hasn't allowed a touchdown in college.
Yeah.
And he's a really good, he's my number one CD right now. So I like it.
Yeah. And the measurables and everything, he just checks out. And like I said, he'll go in there immediately.
Alrighty. The
Giants.
The New York Giants are on the clock.
Ooh. All right. So I thought about going defense here, but I think they need to upgrade the O-line also. So I went with Ike Ekwonu. And this guy, run blocking skills, is on another level. So getting, it helps out Saquon. It's an instant upgrade. and he's very good in the screen game. So I think that's just an all around good fit for the Giants.
And I think he's going to be able to, like, once again, kind of go in there and then this evaluation of what they have. He's going to provide a lot of either protection or, like you said, even with Saquon, he's a safe pick to where they can actually help determine what they're going to need in the future. During that, now there's that same position where they can't really miss high up in the draft like this right now. So, and then
The juicy pick.
We got Carolina Panthers are now on the clock.
Man, yeah, I don't want to jump this gun by any means, man. So Carolina Panthers, they only have one pick in like the top 125, top 130 or something. So they really cannot, they have to find something that's going to be, something to shake up the entire team. Obviously, that's going to be on the quarterback side of things. So I've got Kenny Pickett going to Carolina. He's obviously Sam Darnold is just, it's not what they were hoping for. And I think Kenny Pickett is a disruptor all around. He's going to bring something into the locker room, and I think is very competitive and very pro ready. Like right off the bat, obviously everybody says that he's ready to go. So he's got to be that pick at number 6.
First QB off the.
Alrighty. So Kenny Pickett to Carolina. Now we got the New York Giants are on the clock, and
Look, he got traded.
I'm receiving word now. That we have our first trade alert. The first trade alert, and it looks like we have the New York Giants are trading the 7th overall pick to the Houston Texans for the 13th overall, 68 and 107. Houston is receiving the 7th. So.
Right. So Houston traded up to go after Travon Walker. This guy. Go ahead.
Houston is not on the clock yet, just so you know.
Okay.
Oh, that's a penalty, right? So automatically the next team gets
Right, so yeah. So they take. Oh man, I ain't gonna have time to explain.
All right.
But they take Travon Walker.
Houston is now on the clock.
All right, there we go. So they take Travon Walker, who had an unbelievable combine. The dude's like freakish, versatile, athletic, but he's raw. They have time to, like, this is the Texans, so he can sit and develop like a Rashawn Gary type player who sit for Green Bay, and then this past season, had an unbelievable season. So I think they can do that with him because they're in that rebuilding stage right now.
Yep, and they're pretty much both those top 10 picks that they now have, according to this, shoring up one side of the offensive line and now the defensive line. It would be outstanding to see them do something like that because, like you said, they have the time to develop him. Who he is, just an insane specimen. But
the game is won in the trenches. So I'm all for that.
That is right. General Fitz knowledge right there.
Yes. Atlanta is now on the clock.
And this one has been giving me it gave me some hard thought here because I know that they have many different things that they could go for. There's a lot of great wide receivers up at this point, but they have 2 second-round picks and 2 third-round picks. They could easily address many of their issues at that point or trade up. Who knows what they want to do. So with that being said, I went for a more high-end potential guy with Jermaine Johnson. He's really good in the run game side of things, but he's very, like you're saying again, raw on the pass rusher side. But he showed that potential. I think it would be a great thing for them to get, and then just play with both those second and third round picks. I mean, you have so much to play with there, especially in this draft. Maybe even move up.
Yeah,
a very high ceiling.
Jermaine Johnson, edge from Florida State. Next on the clock is Seattle with pick number 9. Before I interrupt you, just to anybody that's tuning in and watching, we will be posting the mock draft following this episode trying to update the tracker on the bottom is just not cooperating with me. So I'm gonna stop fighting it. CJ, you now have 30 seconds to make your Seattle pick.
I I didn't know what to do with this pick either. I didn't know. I thought about going defense. I even thought about going quarterback here, but with Drew Lock and a potentially a Baker Mayfield that might come, I went with the sure pick as in Charles Cross. You put him in there on that O line, and I mean, it doesn't matter who the QB is. You got to have somebody to protect you, and Charles brings that.
Charles Cross.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
The New York Jets are now on the clock.
Oh, actually,
I apologize. I'm receiving word now from my folks downstairs that there is a trade alert. There's a trade alert. We have a trade alert. It looks like the New York Jets are trading the 10th overall pick to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And in return, the Jets are receiving the 20th, the 84th, and a 2023 first rounder, it looks like. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are going all in here to get something. And I wonder what they're going to come out of here. I wish I had somebody else to talk to here so I could be like, hey, Tim, this is what they're doing. Yeah, Fitz, I agree. You know what I mean? So
get that dual personality going now. Well, hey, to help out with this, I'll go back to the Seattle side. 100% agree with the Cross side. No matter what your quarterback is, you have to have somebody there to protect them. And on the run side, that's possibly going to be what you're going to be leaning on.
Yeah,
re-signing up Penny and everything. So
I apologize. I hate to interrupt you. Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock here, and they have about 40 seconds to make their pick.
And Commissioner, I appreciate your punctuality, and that's one thing I like about you. The Pittsburgh Steelers really need to.
Thank you.
So the Pittsburgh Steelers clearly have a glaring hole, and obviously they know it too. They're moving up to fill that hole. And Malik Willis is the pick right here. They need to have somebody who has the personality and the leadership. We did not see a competitiveness in them at all. I feel like that is something that they're missing. That's leadership and that competitiveness. And Malik Willis really during the combine and the offseason kind of stepped up his reputation with both those things.
I'm sorry, Pittsburgh did not submit their pick on time. No. I'm just playing.
I'm sorry, Steelers Nation.
No. All right, the Washington Commanders are now on the clock with pick number 11.
Pick number 11.
So I like that Malik Willis I do, but it's still, I mean, Mitch Trubisky. All right, go ahead. Washington Commanders, I'm sorry. We're going to
get your time, Commissioner.
Yeah, we're going to recap all this.
Right. So Washington traded for Carson Wentz. I think they had another playmaker in Drake London, the receiver from USC. He's got the Michael Pittman vibes. So he can come in. He's listed at 6'5", 210. Big physical, got the playmaking skill. I think he had like 19 contested catches last season before he broke his ankle.
Drake London, wide receiver, University of Southern California.
Let's go.
What did I just do? Shoot.
Uh-oh. Come on, Commish.
The Minnesota Vikings are now on the clock.
All right, and I'm excited to see Drake London. By the way, with that team,
I think he complements Terry McLaurin really well. Okay, go ahead.
Gosh, so much. The Minnesota Vikings take advantage of this free fall that has seemed to have been happening with Kyle Hamilton, safety from Notre Dame. He's had a little bit of a fall because of his combine. 40 wasn't like this outstanding, beautiful thing, but his play and his just innate instincts on the field, to me, make him a top 5 player. And they're getting him at 12 is an outstanding pick. It's a smash grab. They have to grab him at this point. I'm excited for him. Go Vikings.
Yeah, Cal Hamilton is one of my favorite players in this draft. He's so versatile. He can make plays all over the field. So Minnesota is getting a real gem with him.
Absolutely. Now coming back in, we have the 13th overall pick, which was received by the Giants, correct? Yes. So the Giants now have the 13th overall pick and are on the clock.
So they was hoping they could get Kyle Hamilton, but he falls to Minnesota. So they go with their next best name, they think, and that's is Derek Stingley Jr., who can take over James Bradbury's spot on the corner. He's a top tier CB. He could be that lockdown number one corner with on the other side with Dory Jackson. So a real good combo.
Derek Stingley to the New York Giants with the 13th overall pick, which now puts the Baltimore Ravens on the clock. I think we finally got.
Oh gosh,
we're finally back on track. Take your time.
I'll keep it going here. So the Baltimore Ravens. I was looking at Trent McDuffie from Washington, cornerback at this spot, but there's a guy by the name of Jordan Davis from Georgia, defensive tackle there. I think he's got the run stopping ability that you won't find later on in the draft, and you might be able to find something not at Trent McDuffie's level in the draft, but something that I'm trying to think. Jordan Davis has a higher potential there at this position. I think you definitely that variable between later on in the draft, they have to go for it. So that's why Jordan Davis.
Yeah, he's a good run stopper.
Yeah.
It improves that line so much more.
Yeah, especially after they missed out on never mind, dude from Green Bay. Yep. Sorry, man. All this clicking has got me all my head. I can't wait till this thing's over. So
behind the scenes, I'm sure you're just like,
yes. All right. Ooh. The 15th or with the 15th overall pick, the Philadelphia Eagles are now on the clock.
So I went with Garrett Wilson with this pick. Their previous first round pick, Jalen Reagor, hasn't lived up to his potential. Garrett Wilson has tremendous route running skills with short explosion to create that separation. So him and Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts is going to have enough weapons to make it happen this season if they continue with him.
And he have no excuses if he doesn't, because Garrett Wilson's ready to plug and play. They'll be lucky if he falls there. Obviously, if it pans out like this.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see the first receiver off the board was 11 to Drake London. So this will be interesting. So with that being said, we have the New Orleans Saints are now on the clock. This is a pick that they received from the Indianapolis Colts or from the Philadelphia Eagles in a recent trade. So
yeah, and I know I disrupted the wide receiver thing with the Falcons not taking one, and that's a very big possibility too. But it's such a deep draft. Personally, I think that they could still find something great. And the Saints here on the other side are going to take a wide receiver. It is Chris Olave. I personally think in this position they should take Jameson Williams. I love his ability, but Chris Olave, I think, is going to be catching the eye for the New Orleans Saints. He'll still perform great. Obviously, he did amazing at the combine with his 40 speed. But I think no matter what happens there, they've got time to develop too, with like the Houston Texans and New York Giants. Yep. They've got time to develop these guys.
Alrighty, next on the clock. Next pick up is the Los Angeles Chargers with the 17th overall pick.
So, I was hoping I could get Jordan Davis here, but he's already off the board. So I went with Trevor Penning in the Northern Iowa, and this dude has tremendous street with the wide body frame. He excels at the run blocking, but he plays with this like fierce mentality. Like he just wants to run everything over. So just helping like that AFC West is stacked. So having him come in is a big plus for them.
Yeah, I think the rich get richer with that one too, because I think he should go higher than he is. I don't know why. Just reading certain things and how teams are feeling, he's fallen. Obviously, they know more than we do, but his play, I love what he has. I love it.
Alrighty, Trevor Penning to to the Los Angeles Chargers with the 17th overall pick. Now we have the New Orleans Saints are on the clock with pick 18. No, I got that backwards.
The
Throw me
Eagles.
off over here. Eagles.
The Philadelphia Eagles are on the clock.
New Orleans are next, so you just keep the clock rolling for them. They got extra time. They usually need it anyways. So Philadelphia, I know I was talking about Trent McDuffie earlier. This is where Philadelphia is going to jump in and snag him at this pick. It is a great value. I think I don't know. I think he's definitely top 3. I might put him as my second favorite cornerback in this draft, and they'll definitely need it for if they're wanting to start competing and getting things going up against. Honestly, really the Cowboys, and with Drake London going, if Drake London goes over to Washington, they're going to need some cornerback help, and that he'll be outstanding for that.
Alrighty.
He just feels like Eagles pick. So
yeah, he kind of does.
Yeah.
Moving on to pick 19, the New Orleans Saints.
All right, so they took receiver in Chris Olave. So I have him taking the guard Zion Johnson from Boston College. He's probably the all-around guard that can. He's going to be the day one starter for them if they select him. He has amazing strength. He has a large frame body. And he's there to help out that line so they can get back to running the ball with Alvin Kamara and helping out Jameis Winston. So yeah, Zion to the Saints.
All right. Zion to the Saints. Moving on. This is the
tasty.
This is the 20th overall pick. This is the New York Jets, who acquired this from a trade earlier with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And as a New York Jets fan, I am just jumping up and down. Not personally, like I'm not a fan of the New York Jets, but if I was a fan,
I was about to cancel the whole
show.
Yeah.
If I was a fan, the Jets be taking Treylon Burks. They trade down and still able to snag this guy from our wide receiver from Arkansas. As we're getting this going, I was like, man, if this falls this way, there's no way. Jets fans are so used to just looking through history of, first round picks. It's just so hit and miss between like Golston. Can't remember that cornerback they took in like 2003 that just did nothing for them. I think that this would be an amazing draft for them if they could snag Treylon Burks here. But that's who they would pick if this panned out like that.
Treylon Burks to the New York Jets.
Him and Elijah Moore.
Oh, you sound so disappointed, Commissioner. Come on.
No, sorry. The New England Patriots are now on the clock.
I know all the subliminal booing that you're hearing.
So New England. So I thought about taking a receiver, but they just don't pan out with taking receivers. Like I think the last first round receiver they took was N'Keal Harry, and it still ain't working out for it. So I went with Devin Lloyd, the linebacker from Utah. He's a 3-down type linebacker. He can play against the run or the pass. He's explosive. He has good closing speed. He's just one of these Bill Belichick types of players, and I think he would fit really good in that system.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love Lloyd going to them. That would be exactly like you said, Belichick system style. He'll be flourishing over there.
The Green Bay Packers are now on the clock.
All right. So once again, man, I get to mention it twice in a single draft. This is who I think is going to go. Jahan Dotson, wide receiver from Penn State. They need to start. They gave Rodgers his contract. Adams is gone. Valdez-Scantling's gone. You've got to obviously reload there. He presents a big body that can get in there. He's got great potential. Personally, I think there's other wide receivers they could go with here, but I think this is who they're going to go with at the 22nd pick with Jahan Dotson, wide receiver for Penn State.
Jahan Dotson,
yeah,
wide receiver, Penn State. I can't wait to recap this after we're done here because I got a lot of questions for you guys.
Please send it.
as
Please.
a commissioner. The Arizona Cardinals are now on the clock.
So they lost Chandler Jones in free agency. I went with George Karlaftis from Purdue, the edge. He was a 3-year starter at Purdue. He has a very explosive first step with endless energy. Like his motor is always going. The thing about him though, his lower half of his body is like just so strong. So he has good technique with his feet and his hands. And I think having a veteran like JJ Watt there could really improve his development skills. So
yeah,
and I was looking at with some of the picks I had for the edge on there, looking at him instead. I love his film. Just seeing what certain teams are going with. I don't know certain players up ahead, but I love his potential. Definitely a great pick for them.
The Dallas Cowboys are now on the clock.
All right. So, as a Dallas Cowboy homer, I know I'm not the only one in the room here. You have so many of your own personal opinions, personal biases, but what I think they need to do here is, and I'm going to butcher the guy's name, Tyler Linderbaum.
Yeah, that's right.
Linderbaum from Iowa. Looking at so much of his stats and all of his grading.
Close to butchering that, like that was really.
Well, it looked weirder than it says. I don't know why.
Right.
Yeah, but anyway, we can talk about that later, Commissioner. Jeez.
Yes.
But yeah, no, he's one of the highest. If you look at Pro Football Focus, highest rated centers in a very long time. He's outstanding, and I believe that is something that they definitely need to address in Dallas.
Tyler Linderbaum, University of Ohio, to the Dallas Cowboys. Moving on, we now have the Buffalo Bills on the clock, and I'm now receiving word that the Buffalo Bills have traded the 25th overall pick.
No way.
What?
The Buffalo Bills are trading the 25th overall pick to the Atlanta Falcons for the 43rd, 74th, and a 2023 fifth-round pick. It's very interesting. Very interesting. And with that being said, we got about 20 seconds here, so hold on.
All right. So Atlanta moves back up in the draft, and they didn't take a receiver with their first pick, but they got a really good edge player. So they're gonna take a receiver with this pick and pick Jameson Williams, the kid from Alabama, who's just a yard after catch player with deep threat. He's like your go-to guy in Madden if you just want to throw a touchdown every time on one play.
And I appreciate the backhanded compliment here as the person who drafted the edge player at the 8th position. You're almost trying to make up for my mistake earlier, and I appreciate that. But no, and I've already mentioned Jameson Williams, I think twice now. I love his ability. I feel like he should be top of people's board. But
I mean, is the injury really stopping, or is the injury causing the fall? Like, I mean, it has to be, right?
Yeah.
I personally don't feel like it should.
No,
but
I don't either. Not with today's medicine. I really don't. So, all right. We are. The pick is in. Atlanta selects wide receiver James Williams, University of Alabama. The Tennessee Titans are now on the clock.
Yes, and this has got to be the sexiest pick of the entire draft right here. I want to build this up to be like just such an outstanding, beautiful pick.
All right, you got 50 seconds.
Tennessee Titans take Tyler Smith from Tulsa. That is too many T's in one freaking sentence. Tennessee Titans take Tyler Smith from offensive line from Tulsa. Bam. That they need to obviously the centerpiece there, Derrick Henry. And Commissioner, this is highly unprofessional. And I know.
Listen, man, all I'm thinking about is Billy Madison when he's like, today. Right? Like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Tennessee Titans. But yes, the Tennessee Titans select Tyler Smith, offensive lineman from Tulsa.
Bam! Thank you. You saved me there.
That's a great pick.
Is my pick done yet?
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on the clock.
So with Tampa, I took Devontae Wyatt. I thought about going CB here, but I think just shoring up that defensive line. He's built, with strength, agility. He's got the speed. He's versatile. He led tackles as a Georgia defensive tackle. He had a dominant Senior Bowl. So I think improving that defensive line will also help the CBs out. So yeah, Devontae Wyatt from Georgia.
Yeah, and shoot, seeing all these defensive line guys coming off of Georgia in
Right.
in the first. I mean, it obviously completely stacked. We saw it so many times throughout the college season, but especially in the playoff time frame, it was they're stacked. And that's a great pick. I thought he would go higher, but I know the combine and once teams start getting their hands on it and interviewing people, things start to change a little bit. So,
Alrighty. Devontae Wyatt, defensive tackle, Georgia, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The
Dwight Schrute.
The Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers are now on the clock.
All right, so I had the distinct honor of picking both times for the Green Bay Packers. Jahan Dotson, a wide receiver. I know there's a lot of people that are like, hey, just go back-to-back wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. That's not where I'm seeing it. There's a guy on the board that I think is outstanding for them to snag. You've got the guard from Texas A&M, Kenyon Green. You just clearly signed Rodgers to a contract. You want to get him protected. I think the depth of this draft, you'll be able to still snag another wide receiver that could have been there later on. There's not tons, but plenty of guys in there that, if under some good systems and coaching, will do just fine.
Yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs, pick 29, acquired through the Miami Dolphins, is now on the clock.
One of my surprise pick of the draft, and one of my favorite players is they select Sky Moore from Western Michigan. So they traded Tyreek Hill, they signed Juju and Valdez Scantling, but getting somebody like Sky Moore who can play the slot or the outside. He's one of the best route running. He has excellent footwork. I think he had the largest hands at the combine, coming in at 10 inches. Yeah. So he forced 26 missed tackles last year. So yeah, just going to that offense with Patrick Mahomes, he could be that gadget player for them. So,
and yeah. I don't want to take up any more time because I'm about to pick. So,
no, you're good. So we now have the Kansas City Chiefs, and now receiving word that we have another trade.
Jeez,
another trade. So the Kansas City Chiefs are now trading the 30th overall pick to the Seattle Seahawks. So the Seattle Seahawks are now on the clock.
Damn. Okay, well that was more abrupt than I was expecting here, but. Seattle, with this traded up pick, goes for it. They already got offensive linemen to secure things down. They see a little bit of this run. They want to get the guy that they like. They're going with Matt Corral, Ole Miss quarterback. I know they like him right now through interviews and everything. And personally, he's my top 3 quarterbacks. I've got charted out. I have to relook at my thing there, but I'm pretty sure that's right. No. Matt Corral is going to be a great fit there, and personally, that would instantly, I think, put a little boost into the Seattle Seahawks offense.
Interesting. I wonder if he has any familiarity with DK. Well,
oh yeah,
maybe he was a redshirt freshman or something like that when DK was drafted.
Same college,
Maybe. Maybe. Interesting. I like it. I like it a lot. The Cincinnati Bengals are on the clock. You can take your time with this pick. You're running a little ahead of schedule.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought about taking in another offensive line, but I think the line is good.
Yeah.
as where it's at right now. So the next thing I thought about doing, well, let's improve the cornerbacks because they were giving up a lot of yards in the playoffs, and just improving it overall is something that you need to do. So I took Andrew Booth Jr. from Clemson. He's a tall, lengthy football player. He has long arms. He's really smooth when he bat pedals. So I think just improving the cornerbacks for Cincinnati is the way I will go with my first pick.
And I think within that division too, making that addition is he'll be a very quick contributor. And I mean, as much as I like certain teams within the division and whatnot, I don't think that there's an insane amount of threat, and that's actually going to just create more of a lockdown on their side. With Pittsburgh receivers,
Absolutely, dude.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it,
If that defense performs much like it did in the playoffs, the AFC North is Seattle has it locked down for
yeah,
sure in years to come, with or without this pick. But I agree with you with this pick. If they do take corner there, I mean, they're just setting themselves up for success here in the upcoming years. So, and now with the final pick of the first round of the 2002 Nothing But a Mock, the Detroit Lions.
And hey, I had to sneak in an exciting one. There's a few guys I was going between here. Personally, yeah, I think George Pickens from Georgia, wide receiver, would be a wonderful addition. I love his ability, but just for the overall ability that he could provide, I've got them taking Desmond Ritter, quarterback from Cincinnati. He's moving up in a lot of people's kind of views in regards to his, how he leadership, winning mentality, and just that kind of personal traits that they start to look at. Um, on the physical side of things, I think he has room to develop. And maybe just, I'm not saying Goff is a great person to be behind for a year or even half a season, but I think if he's able to actually get in there, get hands on things, that organization, I love the attitude that they're creating, the mentality they're creating. Other episodes, if you watched, I'm sure we like the Detroit Lions, so that's where I have him going in that window.
I like it a lot. And that concludes the first annual Nothing But a Mock. And boy, oh boy, do I have some things to learn
Sweating over here.
from that experience. I'm going to, first off, never wear a shirt and tie for a mock draft ever again. All right? Never, ever, ever again will I do that.
Do not blame you. Dude, yeah, that's
it was cool. I was trying to have fun, trying to be entertaining.
You did wonderfully.
And it was pretty.
You were stern, very strict on your timeline, and that's what's
Yeah.
necessary in a draft.
Dude, trying to update this tracker at the bottom, it was like, I'm surprised anybody that was like, I was surprised I didn't say what was in my head. I'm surprised it didn't come out of my mouth because I was getting infuriated, dude. I was so frustrated with it. And then in the future, in next year's draft, I think like a minute and a half, maybe,
Yeah.
or even 2 minutes.
Even 2 minutes. Yeah.
Maybe by then I'll figure out how to actually control the clock, and we can just start the clock over whenever we want. Hey, listen, we're new to this. We're having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Thanks to everybody for tuning in and checking out. So just to recap now, I want to recap. For such a deep wide receiver class, I was so surprised to see the first wide receiver come off at 11. I love the Drake London, but do you really think Drake London's the first wide receiver to come off the board?
You want to take that with the Washington pick, or do I need to interject here?
I do. I don't know. Like there could be a team that trades up in the top 10 to take Garrett Wilson, but I think Drake London to Washington is a really solid pick for them because he's just like Michael Pittman. He's the big physical. He can be the big physical receiver, and Scary Terry can be your vertical threat. So they like you say, they complement each other, and it's just like a dynamic duo for that offense right there.
it's very like, how do I think the big misconception with drafting, right? Just drafting period, is that people view first round the first round as exceptional talent, playmaker, right? Or in these guys that are supposed to contribute. I view first round picks as like the biggest risk, right? Like these guys are the risk, because you're placing a bet on this exceptional talent, and if it translates over to the NFL. I don't think Drake London is the first one off the board, because I think Drake London is your standard solid possession go-to receiver, right? And I just don't think, like, I think logically, right? And this is what we do here at Nothing But the Game, is like we try to think in the most logic sense, like what fits where and why. Logically, yeah, a wide receiver like that would complement somebody like Terry McLaurin so well.
Yes.
But on the contrary, I do not think he's the first one off the board, because there's players like Treylon Burks or Jameson Williams that have this exceptional, off the charts playmaker ability. And like, I hate that football is viewed as such a win now. Like, nobody knows how to play the long game. Nobody knows how to play the long game, and it drives me bonkers. It does.
Yeah,
it drives me bonkers, man.
And I think that's where, on some of my drafting side of things, looking at it, it is more the long side of things. Yeah, I'm trying to pick who I think they're going to take, but at the same time, not subliminally, just consciously, you just let your own thoughts overrun sometimes. And I'm in the same boat. I mean, you have to identify where you are as a team.
Right.
And yes, you're always trying to compete. You're not just throwing games. You're not just trying to be like, oh, well, we're not going to compete this year. No matter what, because then you set up a poor morale, you set up a poor culture. You always are trying to compete, but you also have to identify where you are. That's personally, through the kinking things, like with my Atlanta Falcons pick, I was going back and forth between, hey, do they go with a Garrett Wilson right here? Because realistically, those are the two guys. It was that position or an edge rusher. And seeing this depth, I think Garrett Wilson is outstanding. But they're not in a position. I think they're going to be in the top 14 picks again. And next year's draft, you have other guys, barring injuries, and I know you all always want to battle the future. You have other guys that you can be addressing in the future, and still have guys that you can take a swing at and be like, oh my gosh, they could be outstanding producers now, or halfway through the season.
And this is where
to me is Jermaine Johnson.
This is where like a league like the NFL really just grinds my gears, because these kids, and that's what they are, man. They're kids. They're all younger than us three, right? Way younger than us three. Their careers will be over before they're even our age, right? Most of them, which is, not to put an age on us, anybody, but but there's.
Usually that's 3 to 4 years you've got on average.
These kids, they bust their ass their entire life to get to this moment, and then it can either there's no developmental side of professionalism at all, like of being a professional, where you look at Major League Baseball and hockey, like they all have these minor leagues. They'll draft these kids at age 18, 17 years old, 18 years old, and they'll let them learn the game, the speed of it, develop all that time before those guys they'll be, 22, 23 years old before they're even in the pros, versus, and it's, to me, it's unfortunate, because you would think that that's what college football is supposed to be, is this developmental thing, but it's not. College football is trying to earn its own money in this.
Yep.
They have to, right? So, yeah. Oh man, I'm all fired up right now. I'm sorry, guys.
That tie was too close on your neck, and now you got all that blood rushing to your head.
I just want to say, I think Drake London is a better system fit, so that's why I went with Drake London.
Drake London is absolutely.
I agree, man. he has a very like to me. AJ Brown. AJ Brown's one of my favorite wide receivers. The way that he plays the game, because he doesn't have that crazy playmaker ability, right? Like the speed, but he is a playmaker because he fits so well into the pro style. Like he fits so well as a pro, right?
Yeah.
He's big, he's physical, he's fast enough. He's like AJ Brown is one of my favorite wide receivers, and I'm curious if he can maintain in Tennessee or if he ends up going somewhere that I mean he's AJ Brown's the kind of wide receiver that needs a solid quarterback to be successful, and I don't know if Ryan Tannehill is there. There's another pick I wanted to talk about, and I was so surprised, and I'm still surprised that he's falling so low. And so, like, some people have Kyle Hamilton as the number one overall prospect, and some people have him. I mean, here in our mock draft, we had him going 12 to the Minnesota Vikings, which is, interesting because they still have, an all-pro in Harrison Smith over there, right? But it's
but he's up in age.
But you're saying his stock is falling. Yeah, I understand he's up in age, absolutely. But you're saying that his stock is falling because he didn't have a great combine. And that's another thing that you can't measure with this stuff with combine is game speed, right? Game speed is not immeasurable. Like, and sometimes I feel like these scouts dive so deep into the analytic of it, right? Like, oh, he's not fast, or he didn't do the shuttle drill good enough. No, but his reaction time to identifying what is happening behind the line of scrimmage is probably a lot faster than old boy who's running, 4.4 over here. So,
and that's why I had mentioned those instincts because, personally watching him play, that's where the difference is with the analytics and film, and you have to kind of combine those. On the film side, which I lean more towards.
Absolutely.
You watching this, and you're sometimes surprised by some players whenever they get to the combine or even their own pro days, and it's like you look so much faster, or you look so much more instinctive, or you have this better elusiveness than what these numbers are saying on these scout analytic numbers. And personally, I would love to see him go way higher. In there. So I mentioned him in the second pick. I was like, man, I would contemplate him here for Detroit. But it's I don't know why. This is just the reading the room. And I think also what you mentioned with him already having a safety, I think having the first round capital on them, having that 5th year option weighs into some of these players as to what they have.
Absolutely.
Obviously, that's why quarterbacks come into play. You have that quarterback up here, and if you take a swing on them and you hit, having that 5th year option for them is just gold.
Yeah,
you love to have that.
I mean, you see it in quarterbacks taken in the first round that were getting extensions after immediately as soon as they were up for and eligible for extensions. So at the end of their third seasons, quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. These guys are getting major contract extensions after 3rd years because you figured it out. You hit on them. So, and then the best part in terms of salary cap, well, they're still under contract for that 4th and 5th year option, right? So their big salary cap hit isn't even coming for another 2-3 years after that extension. So that's really, really interesting.
I mean, also, just like the way the players fell in this draft that we did, we went more team needs. Because in my first one that we did, I had them going to the Texans with the number 3 pick. But I think O-line is more important than taking a safety. So it's just
it's that return on investment, like I was mentioning. Historically, they know they know exactly what they're looking at. They can build players and the longevity, how long they can retain these guys on this rookie contract. I mean, I mentioned the Jets before. You have cornerbacks that they've taken, and they only lasted 2 years on a starting roster. And they took them in the first 15 picks, first round. And so you want to find some longevity and, bang for your buck. In reality, that's what comes into play here too.
If he makes it out of the top 10, somebody that's want to trade up for him, then he's a safety. So I can see it happen.
Yeah.
I liked Oh, wait. Sorry, you didn't lose me. I'm sorry. I was trying to go back and reading through the mock here. I like Stingley
To the Giants.
to the Giants, but another thing I think is being overlooked is I think Stingley might be the best corner in this entire draft. And the reason I think that and the reason I look at that is that you have to look at the alma mater and where he's coming from. LSU has produced some of, if not the greatest corners
Right.
the league's ever.
Yeah.
You know, Patrick Peterson, just in recent names, right? Patrick Peterson, Tre'Davious White, who's like these guys, and then the LSU has this really really cool tradition that they present the number 7 to leaders
Yeah.
on their teams, right? In terms of maturity and play on and off the field. And Stingley is, he was their number 7 this year. And if I'm like a professional GM, right? Like that says a lot to me. I think character is everything in this league. Character is your drive. It is, like Stingley, regardless of injury, should be the number 1 or should be the first corner off this draft or off the board, and he's not going to be. And whoever gets him is getting a steal.
Because he can't stay healthy though. That's the knock on him. That's why he's not the number 1 CB Ben draft because he can't stay healthy.
Maybe he needs
talent wise, yeah. So he's
talent-wise,
absolutely up there.
Exactly.
And shoot, also LSU's always pumping out wide receivers like crazy, so they're just building each other up. So it's probably that whole system is just, they've got something going on over there. And speaking of wide receiver on there, I know you mentioned that your pick for Sky Moore was kind of like the surprise one. Personally, in the system there with Patrick Mahomes, that's just I love Sky Moore. I've been loving him for a good minute now, and he's become a name that's kind of gotten common after the combine and post college season. But that setup there, I'm not saying that he will replace Tyreek Hill by any means, but getting in there and like you said, big hands, possession, precise route running, you build that chemistry with Mahomes. I mean, if you can just figure out where you're just running that precise route and he can trust you, that's what he has with Kelsey. You're going to see something explode there with him. If he goes there, I have him in a few dynasty leagues, Devy leagues. I mean, I'm kind of stoked if he goes there.
yeah, dude. He's yeah, that's kind of scary. I mean, it's really scary to think about. And the crazy part is that like the AFC West is so jam packed right now, and everyone's kind of sleeping on Kansas City now because of all these moves that the other teams have made to compete. I mean, Derek Carr got an extension today. Like everybody is committed here in the AFC West, and like, yeah, but like don't sleep on Kansas City at all. Kansas City, if it falls the way that we mocked it up, or if not, Kansas City has 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, 2 third-round picks.
It's a lot of picks,
man. Yeah,
all within like the top 150. I mean,
yeah,
Jesus, dude. And I mean, look at the way that they have developed. I mean, you have Patrick Mahomes that comes out his sophomore year and is league MVP and goes to the AFC Championship. Like these guys can develop. They're great at developing, and maybe not so much running backs. They seem to be struggling at the running back game, but
hey, with all those picks, they could always find another depth option at the running back side.
Improve the defense in the later rounds. So I mean, yeah, watch out for Kansas City.
I'd be interested in seeing. We haven't seen. I'm not saying Kansas City's an underdog by any means, but with the way how the West is panning out. Seeing all these storylines and building up for the Chargers and with Denver and everything, be interesting to see on how that Mahomes led team kind of goes into the season.
Yeah. Well, guys, that was it. Thank you to everybody for tuning in for our first annual Nothing But a Mock. Evan, you wanna break it down?
Yeah, man. I really, again, appreciate you guys listening through the chaos and the fun randomness that we've been having here. Definitely follow us on Twitter at NBTG _ podcast on Twitter, and definitely subscribe at on YouTube here. And I really, again, appreciate it. And definitely next week we'll be coming in. Shoot, not next week, week afterwards. I'll be, taking the phone at the draft live for the first round. So definitely check it out. I know you can watch it on TV. But if you want to get some fun comments, the common folk verbiage of things, definitely
Yes.
tune in with us and chat with us, please. We love to have engagement there, your thoughts, and we'll definitely talk about those things while we're live at the draft.
Yeah. So live every Wednesday, and be sure to tune in.
See ya.